Breaking news, SNAP benefits must continue according to a federal judge's ruling out of Rhode Island, the smallest state to the rescue. This ruling comes just hours before millions of Americans were worried about whether or not they'd be able to feed their families during the government shutdown. A federal judge in Rhode Island blocked the Trump administration from refusing to pay the SNAP benefits out of the emergency funding that they already have for this situation. The oral ruling by Judge Jack McConnell honestly came at the nick of time. As part of his ruling, he said that the administration must use those emergency funds to cover at least partial SNAP benefits. You can't just let people go hungry. That emergency fund is there for a reason. And by the way, this federal ruling is in addition to the pending one out of Boston. Another case was heard yesterday, and that judge was kind of leaning the same way. And she released a statement saying that her final ruling will come down on Monday. So it looks like, yes, the Trump administration is going to appeal, obviously, but hopefully SNAP benefits will go out to people tomorrow.
Big breaking news, guys. 2 federal judges just told the Trump administration to keep those SNAP benefits a-rolling, even during the government shutdown. So apparently, a little backstory, apparently the Trump administration tried to say, well, shutdown is here. I guess those food cards gotta stop swiping. Like what? You can't just tell 42 million people, good luck, hope you like air sandwiches. But hold up. 25 states and a bunch of nonprofits were like, nah, bro, we're not doing that. They sued and said, you've got a $5 billion contingency fund just sitting there. Use it. And the judges, they agreed. 2 federal judges stepped in and told the administration, you're going to feed these folks, period. Because this isn't about politics. It's about groceries, families, veterans, kids, real people. While politicians are fighting over budgets, folks are just trying to figure out what's for dinner. So yeah, shout out to those judges, man, for having some common sense. And to everyone out there, vote, speak up, and support your local food banks, because at the end of the day, the laws might make the headlines, but it's you that make the difference on the ground. Stay loud, stay proud, and stay fed.
There is light at the end of this tunnel that possibly 42 million people will not go hungry over the weekend waiting for their SNAP benefits to come in. There's a 2-judge rule that just came out that the Trump administration must keep SNAP benefits in place as the shutdown drags on. A federal judge on Friday ordered the Trump administration to continue to fund Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP, during the ongoing government shutdown, delivering near-term relief to roughly 42 million Americans for the month of November. Now listen to this very carefully. That it goes on to say that the emergency order from United States District Judge Indira Talwani said the Trump administration must resume SNAP benefits, which were slated to expire November 1st, ruling that plaintiffs who filed the lawsuit are likely to succeed on their claims that the suspension of the benefits is unlawful. And then moments later after that, a separate federal judge in Rhode Island ordered the Trump administration to continue paying for food stamps during the shutdown. U.S. District Judge John McConnell said that the administration must tap its emergency funds to pay for the SNAP benefits as soon as possible. He issued the emergency order from the bench Friday during an emergency court hearing in Providence. Now, I got to be honest with you, because what I know is that the president doesn't have the power to change this, that it is congressional and it has to go through Congress. So what it looks like to me is that they're speaking directly to the United States Department of Agriculture, that they must tap into emergency funds, but the USDA had came out with a clear message and saying that the well has run dry. Right now, to me, this sounds like there's more game playing going on here with more Democratic judges. It looks like to me that they're still trying to misguide the constituents of the Democratic Party and make it look like it's the Republicans' fault and that it's all Donald Trump's doing. Anyway, this story is just breaking, and I'll make sure that I get information over to you right away with a part 2 as soon as it comes in.
Major breaking news, guys. Y'all will have y'all food stamps. 2 federal judges simultaneously ruled that the Trump administration must use the multi-year contingency funds that they have available for food stamps. Now remember, the agriculture website, because as you know, that's where the funding is for, is really a subsidy for farmers. They had on their website just in September that the funds were available and that they had to be used during any type of government shutdown. They wiped that off, right? And so then a federal judge just said, hey, hold on 1 second. Y'all have to use these funds. They're pre-allocated by Congress. Congress has the purse. You have the money. Use the motherfucking money. 1 in 8 Americans need food stamps. 1 in 8 Americans have to have food stamps. Otherwise, you have a bunch of people, mainly children, going starving. Now, just a reminder that the Trump administration can appeal this ruling. But if they do so, what does that tell you about them? This is supposed to be the pro-life party, the no AB party, the no birth control party, the popping out babies party. So why aren't y'all trying to feed the motherfucking kids? Because y'all said that y'all legal counsel said that y'all could not use the funds. 2 judges just told you that you can. If an appeal comes through and they try and say that they can't use these funds, that tells you everything you need to know about them. Don't nobody be coming on my damn comments talking about, no, you need to get off food stamps. No. They said they didn't have the funds. No. A judge just told them to use the funds. A judge just told them to make sure that y'all have y'all food stamps November 1st. That's what the judge said. Now let's see how this all play out. Don't forget, like this video, comment, tell me what you're thinking, and check out my links in my bio. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Did you know that the government shutdown does not need to end for food stamps to go out? In fact, Trump is literally breaking the law to prevent them from going out. And I can prove that to you. So when Congress last set funding for the food stamps program in March of 2024, they provided an additional $3 billion contingency fund to ensure that the program would still function during a government shutdown. There are 2 requirements the government must meet to use that fund. 1, they have to exhaust all other funding sources first. And 2, they must use it if other funding sources are depleted. They can't just choose to not give people their food stamps. That's the law. Both of those contingencies have been met, meaning that the Trump administration is now required by law to use that contingency fund to send people their food stamps. And they know this because they literally used this same exact contingency fund once before, during his first term in office in 2019. And on top of all of that, less than a month ago, the Trump administration themselves said that they plan to use the contingency fund to pay out food stamps during the shutdown. They literally put that in writing in a lapse of funding plan that they published on the government website on September 30th. And frankly, none of this should surprise anyone. Like, intentionally hurting other people in order to bully them into giving you what you want is sort of Trump's lifelong MO. But Trump isn't the only Republican in on this one. And Republicans at all levels of leadership are participating in this intentional harm of their own voters. And the sickest part is, this isn't even about policy anymore for them. It's about cruelty as leverage. Because when the GOP runs out of ideas, cruelty is always the fallback. They could end this tomorrow, but they won't because they don't want to fix this. They want Americans to feel this pain because to them, that suffering is leverage. It's useful. It's pressure. But this isn't governance. It's extortion. So let's be crystal clear about what's actually happening here. Republicans aren't out of money. They aren't blocked by bureaucracy. They made a choice, a deliberate, premeditated choice to withhold food from millions of Americans. And why? Because Democrats refuse to let them gut health care. That's it. That's the whole reason. They're holding human dignity hostage until Democrats agree to strip away Obamacare subsidies. The same subsidies that make healthcare even remotely affordable for tens of millions of Americans. Republicans are literally saying you can either eat or you can go to the doctor, but you cannot have both. They're trying to starve the poor into submission to protect the rich. And if you're a Republican voter watching this, I want you to understand something. They're not starving Democrats. They're starving you. And sure, some Democrats are also being hurt, but that's just collateral damage to them. It isn't their actual goal. Their goal is hurting You, because you are the one that they think they can manipulate through that pain. You are the one they think is most willing to turn on your neighbors if they can just put you in enough pain and fear first. They're starving you out on purpose because they want to use your hunger as leverage to kill healthcare. They don't care who you voted for. They care that you're desperate because desperation keeps people compliant. So yeah, this isn't just a policy failure. It's moral rot. It's a government that has decided that feeding the hungry is somehow less important than letting billionaires skip out on taxes. So the next time that someone tells you that Republicans are the party of family values, remember this week, the week that they starved those families on purpose.
Hey guys, so a judge just ruled that the Trump administration must use the emergency funds that are allocated to SNAP in an emergency. That they've been ordered to use those emergency funds because it's an emergency. Now, the interesting part about this ruling is, number one, you know he's going to appeal it. You know the Trump administration is going to appeal a decision that allows families to eat. But that's beside the point. Number two, it's ass backwards, okay? It's ass backwards. The Trump administration has violated the Impoundment Act so many times. We could have impeached him 100 times for the amount, probably more than that, for the amount of times that he has violated the Impoundment Act. And if you don't know what the Impoundment Act is, that means if Congress allocates money to spend on XYZ, the president cannot stop that money from going to what it is being spent on. Trump has violated that act so many times. But this money, this emergency money for SNAP, was specifically allocated to use in case of an emergency, in case of an emergency shutdown. And he doesn't want to use it for that. I mean, that's what it was for, and he doesn't want to use it. The amount of antipathy that this administration has towards poor people, the amount of antipathy that this administration has for people who need help is staggering to me. I don't know what this man is trying to prove, but I guess it's true what they say. Cruelty is the point. He wants people to suffer. I don't know why, because so many of those people who will suffer are his supporters. But that seems to be the case, because I cannot think of why you would want to stop food stamps from going to the mouth of children. All right? These people are supposed to be pro-life. What is so difficult about this decision? But we'll see what happens.
Hey everybody, welcome to the neighborhood. Let's get into it and talk about SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans and what a judge just handed down to the Trump administration. Okay, so 2 federal judges today have ruled that supplemental nutrition assistance programs serving about 42 million Americans cannot be cut off as part of the shutdown mess. How about that? Court documents ordered the U.S. Department of Agriculture to tap into its contingency reserve, about $5 to $6 billion, and ensure November benefits are issued without interruption. Now, these injunctions came before USDA could suspend benefit payments. The move was declared likely unlawful under the Food and Nutrition Act, which guarantees payments to eligible households. Immediately relief for millions is what we need to be concerned with. Roughly 1 in 8 Americans rely on SNAP. Okay, halting payments, even for a single month, would have knocked complete households, retailers, and state agencies off kilter. Okay, remember we did a whole talk about this and how this isn't just about SNAP benefits and people receiving it. It's the stores, it's the corner stores. That's the only place to get food in communities. It's the employees, it's the truckers, it's the wholesalers, it's an entire ecosystem, right? And so without those SNAP benefits going out, it knocks all of that off. It's a legal precedent. Here's the next thing. The ruling reinforces that the administration cannot unilaterally cut aid mandated under federal law, even in a shutdown. Budget pressure is ahead. While this win keeps November payments safe, the contingency fund is not going to cover weeks or months of payments without congressional action. Okay, so this is just a band-aid, folks. That's it. So the court's keep going clock is absolutely ticking. Now, here's something else. For states, more than 24 attorney generals and governors had sued, calling USDA's threatening halt illegal withholding of benefits. These allies now have the courts on their side. Now, low-income families were definitely going to feel it. This moment means food security stress has been delayed for now, perhaps avoided, giving families breathing room to get through the shutdown. Now, for the administration, here's the thing. USDA must now decide whether to fully use the contingencies fund, scale back payouts, or seek a settlement. They've signaled that withdrawing the full pot nationwide could be disastrous. Now, for those of you all who are the people in the neighborhood of Brownstone Worldwide, we're going to continue to keep watching this for you guys and how states are actually implementing payments in the coming days, what they're going to be doing, how some states are already setting up those contingency plans, and how people in particular neighborhoods around the nation are literally setting up food banks and other things to prepare for this. So here's the thing. The bottom line is the court has forced the federal government's hand for now. SNAP benefits remain live for November, and many Americans just got a little bit of a lifeline just for a little while, y'all. But the war is not over, and I need you all to understand that, okay? The reason why I say that is the contingency fund is only going to buy time. That's it. What happens next depends on political action and government follow through. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Keep your head on a swivel. When you do get your benefits this month coming up in November, do something with them. Get you some stuff and put it aside if you need to. We all know how to do this. We've had to do it. So what I will say to you is, for more news and information that you can always use, head over to brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and you guessed it, Brownstone Living Magazine. We'll see you around.
We have some major news this afternoon. While the Trump administration is refusing to provide SNAP and other assistance to families during the government shutdown, blue state governors are stepping up, implementing their own disaster declarations, their own states of emergency to provide state funds where the federal government is lacking. And today, the latest, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro announced a $5 million fund provided by the state, along with an additional $1 million fund provided by private citizens like Mark Cuban that he called on to donate to support food banks across the state of Pennsylvania. Because while the government shutdown has gone into day 31, state Democratic governors are not kind of sitting back and just not doing anything. And even though a federal judge did order the Trump administration to move forward and provide SNAP benefits, contingency funds over the next several weeks, that's a temporary fix. Trump may appeal. This may go up to the United States Supreme Court. And even if Trump loses, it'll still take about a week for that funds to get to people. And so Governor Shapiro and other blue state governors are stepping up. I just spoke with Governor Shapiro about this new announcement that he made today. I want you to check it out and let me know what you think. Super excited today to be joined by Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Now, Governor, I hear you just had a big announcement that you made in Pennsylvania about SNAP benefits and protecting Pennsylvania families. What did you do exactly?
Well, I'm here at Philabundance in Philadelphia, a place that just does righteous work feeding hungry people. I came here today to announce that I just signed a disaster declaration here in Pennsylvania, which will allow me to free up millions of dollars, about $5 million initially, to be able to go to food banks like Philabundance and others all across Pennsylvania to help those Pennsylvanians who aren't going to get their SNAP benefits starting tomorrow, November 1st. I want you to understand just the severity of the need. 2 million Pennsylvanians receive SNAP benefits. Our entire population is 13 million people. That's like 1 out of every 8 Pennsylvanians need some assistance just to be able to eat or feed their children. And now without those dollars, by the way, for the first time since the 1960s, when this program began, those dollars won't flow. And so more and more people are going to turn to a place like Philabundance to get help. And so these dollars are going to allow them to buy more food, buy more from our farmers, and help those who are in need.
And I do want to get your reaction because just before we hopped on, two federal judges, one in Massachusetts, one in Rhode Island, essentially said that the Trump administration is unlawfully withholding the contingency funds, the federal SNAP benefit funds that they should be giving out to families across the country, including the 2 million families in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
These 5 million funds that you announced today, how will they be used in conjunction with hopefully these contingency funds that should be released over the weekend into Monday potentially?
Well, let's first talk about this judge's ruling. Remember, I sued along with some other states in order to get the federal government to use those contingency funds. There's a few unknowns right now, even though the judge ruled in our favor. And I'm grateful that the judge saw the law as we did there, requiring the federal government to provide those dollars.